The children's home on Meridian 7 sat like a forgotten box at the edge of Silvertown, where the settlement's lights faded into wilderness. Inside, 43 human children lived, learned, and played. And then there was Zaradot. She sat by the window on the 3rd floor, her small frame silhouetted against the amber sunset. Her skin held a subtle silver sheen that changed with her emotions, pearl when calm, quicksilver when afraid. Her eyes were the color of distant nebulae, swirling violet and blue, and her hair fell in waves that seemed to shimmer with starlight, even in shadow. Zara pressed her palm against the cold glass, watching children play in the courtyard below. They laughed, chased each other, formed circles that she was never invited to join. She was 10 years old and had spent every single one of those years in this building, yet she remained a stranger. "There she is again," someone whispered behind her. "The weird one. My tablet went crazy when she walked past yesterday," another voice added. "Screens started showing symbols I've never seen." Zara pulled her hand away from the window, leaving a faint glowing handprint that faded slowly. She curled into herself, tucking her knees under her chin. This happened constantly, technology responding to her presence like iron to a magnet. Lights brightened when she was happy, flickered when she was sad. Once, during a particularly vivid nightmare, every electronic device in the building had activated. Simultaneously at 3 a.m, the staff had been kind but cautious ever since. The children had been neither dot. As darkness crept across the sky, Zara closed her eyes and felt that familiar pull in her chest. It was like a compass needle pointing towards something far away, something she couldn't name. In her mind, she heard fragments of a voice, deep, warm, achingly gentle. "Little star," the voice whispered. "Find me, please, before they do. Who are you?" Zara whispered back, as she had countless times before. The voice never answered that question. It only repeated its plea, filled with urgency and love so profound it made her heart hurt. A sharp knock startled her from her reverie. The door opened, and Matron Wells peered inside, her weathered face creased with concern. "Zara, dear, time for dinner." "I'm not hungry," Zara said softly. "You need to eat something. You're too thin as it is." The matron's eyes softened. "I know things are difficult, sweetheart, but—" The lights in the hallway suddenly flickered and died. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing everything in red. An alarm began to wail. Not the fire alarm Zara knew, but something she'd never heard before. A mechanical voice echoed through the building speakers. "Warning. Unidentified vessels entering atmosphere. All residents proceed to basement shelters." This is not a drill. Matron Wells' face went pale. She grabbed Zara's hand, then gasped and let go. The child's skin had grown hot, and that silver sheen was now pulsing with light. "What's happening?" Zara asked, fear making her voice shake Dot through the window. Massive shadows descended from the clouds. 3 ships, each the size of a city block, black as the void between stars. Blue scanning beams swept across Silvertown's buildings like searchlights hunting prey. Wherever the beams touched, electronics sparked and flickered. Zara felt the pull in her chest intensify. But this time, it wasn't calling her forward, it was screaming at her to run. "They're looking for something," Matron Wells whispered. "What could they possibly want here?" Zara looked down at her right palm. A symbol had appeared there, glowing with soft golden light, a circle within a circle, connected by elegant lines that formed a pattern like a constellation. She'd seen this mark before, in her dreams, traced across the stars themselves. "They're looking for me," Zara breathed, before the matron could respond. One of the scanning beams passed directly over their building. Every light exploded in a shower of sparks. Zara's mark blazed bright enough to illuminate the entire room, and she felt something vast and ancient turn its attention toward her like the eye of a sleeping god opening. "Run!" Matron Wells shoved Zara toward the door. "The back stairs go." Zara ran. Behind her, she heard boots pounding up the main staircase, heavy, metallic, wrong. The building's structure groaned as something powerful landed on the roof. Dust rained from the ceiling. She flew down the back stairs, her glowing palm lighting the way. Each step she took, the emergency lights flickered back to life. Doors unlocked themselves as she approached. The building itself seemed to be helping her escape Dot at the ground floor. She burst through a service exit into the cool night air. The courtyard was empty. Everyone had fled to the shelters. Zara ran toward the fence at the property's edge, where tangled vines and shadows offered cover. She was almost there when a figure dropped from the fence, landing in a crouch. Zara skidded to a halt, her heart hammering. The figure straightened, and she saw it was a boy, maybe 12 years old, human, with shaggy brown hair and clothes that had seen better days. His face was smudged with dirt, and he carried a battered satchel across his chest. But his eyes were sharp, intelligent, and surprisingly kind. "You're the one they're hunting," he said. Not a question. Zara took a step back, raising her glowing palm defensively. "Stay away from me." "Hey, easy." The boy raised his hands. "I'm not with them. Name's Finn. I've been living in the industrial sector, saw those ships coming, and figured they weren't here for a friendly visit." He tilted his head, studying her. "You're different. I've seen plenty of strange things in Silvertown, but nothing like you." "I don't need your help," Zara said, even as fear made her voice tremble. "Maybe not. But you're about to get it anyway." Finn jerked his thumb toward the fence. "I know every hiding spot, every tunnel, every shadow in this town. Those ships can scan all they want. They won't find you if you're with me." A tremendous crash echoed from the children's home. Part of the roof collapsed inward, and armored figures began pouring out of the building, their movements mechanical and precise. One pointed directly at Zara, and even from this distance, she could see the red targeting lasers converging on her small form. Finn grabbed, her hand the one that wasn't glowing, and pulled. "Debate later. Run now." They sprinted toward the fence. Finn moved with the confidence of someone who'd spent his life navigating tight spaces and dodging trouble. He found a loose section Zara would never have noticed and yanked it aside, creating a gap just large enough to squeeze through. Behind them, energy weapons discharged with a sound like tearing fabric. The ground where they'd been standing exploded in a shower of dirt and grass. "Keep your head down," Finn shouted, pulling her through the gap. They emerged into a narrow alley between old storage buildings. Finn led her deeper into the maze of Silvertown's forgotten industrial district, where rusted machinery loomed like metal giants and shadows cooled thick as oil. Zara's mark continued to glow, pulsing in rhythm with her racing heartbeat. She could feel those ships above, their attention fixed on her like hooks in her soul. Whatever technology powered them was connected to whatever she was, and it wanted her badly. Dot, after several minutes of frantic running, Finn pulled her into a recessed doorway, pressing a finger to his lips. They both froze, breathing hard. Heavy footsteps marched past their hiding spot, followed by the whir of scanning equipment. When the sounds faded, Finn finally spoke in a whisper. "Okay, so I'm going to need you to explain what's going on. Because normal orphans don't get hunted by alien warships." Zara stared at him, this strange boy who'd risked his life for someone he'd never met. His brown eyes held no fear, only curiosity and determination. For the first time in her life, someone was looking at her not with suspicion or pity, but with genuine interest. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've lived in that home my entire life. I don't know who my parents were, where I came from, or why I can do." She gestured at her glowing palm. "This. But you have theories." Finn pressed. Zara hesitated, then nodded. "I have dreams. A voice calls to me. Tonight, it said, find me before they do. She looked up at the ships still hovering over the town. I think they just arrived. Finn processed this, then grinned an expression so out of place, given their situation, that Zara almost laughed. Well then, he said, I guess we'd better find whoever's calling you before those jerks in the fancy ships do. Because I've got a feeling your story is way more interesting than spending another night stealing scrap metal to survive. You don't even know me, Zara said. Not yet. Finn extended his hand. This time as a proper greeting. But I've got nothing but time, and apparently you've got people trying to kidnap you. Seems like the start of a beautiful friendship. Despite everything, the fear, the confusion, the hunters closing in, Zara felt something warm bloom in her chest. She took Finn's hand. I'm Zara, she said. Nice to meet you, Zara. Finn's grin widened. Now let's get you somewhere safe, and then we can figure out this whole mysterious alien heritage thing together. Above them, the ship's scanning beams swept closer. Zara's mark pulsed brighter, as if responding to some distant call. In her mind, that gentle voice whispered once more, Little star, I'm waiting. Zara squeezed Finn's hand and whispered back, I'm coming. I promise. Then they ran together into the night, two children against an empire, following a glowing mark toward answers neither could imagine. Finn led Zara through the skeletal remains of Silvertown's industrial quarter, where factories had died decades ago and been left to rust in peace. Moonlight filtered through broken roofs, casting silver patterns across puddles of oil and scattered machine parts. The air smelled of metal and decay, but to Zara, it felt safer than anywhere she'd ever been. Her palms still glowed softly, providing additional light as they navigated narrow passages between towering equipment. Every few minutes, Finn would stop, listen, then guide them in a new direction. He moved with the grace of someone who knew these ruins intimately. How do you know your way around so well? Zara asked, keeping her voice low. When you're an orphan without an orphanage, you learn fast, Finn replied. These ruins are home. Well, one of several homes. I move around a lot. He glanced back at her, his expression softening. Your home seemed nicer than sleeping under rusty roofs, though. It was lonely, Zara admitted. Everyone was afraid of me. Their loss. Finn stopped at what looked like a dead-end massive concrete wall covered in faded warning signs. He pressed his palm against a specific section, and with a grinding sound, part of the wall swung inward. This way. There's someone who might be able to help. They descended a narrow staircase carved into stone, going deeper than Zara thought possible. The temperature dropped, and moisture glistened on the walls. At the bottom, they entered a vast underground chamber that took Zara's breath away. The space had been transformed into a living workshop. Dozens of lights, some electric, some glowing, with strange bioluminescence illuminated walls covered in tools, screens, and machinery from 100 different worlds. Tables overflowed with half-assembled devices, alien artifacts, and equipment Zara couldn't begin to identify. The air hummed with quiet energy. At the chamber center, bent over a workbench covered in glowing components, stood an elderly woman. Her hair was long and completely white, bound in elaborate braids threaded with copper wire. Her hands, though wrinkled, moved with steady precision as she soldered two pieces of unknown technology together. She wore a leather apron covered in burn marks and strange symbols. Grandmother Hella, Finn called out softly. I've brought someone who needs help. The woman didn't look up immediately. She finished her soldering, set down her tools with deliberate care, then turned. Her eyes were a shocking pale green, almost luminescent in the chamber's mixed lighting. When her gaze fell on Zara, those eyes widened. Sweet stars above, Grandmother Hella whispered. She moved forward quickly, despite her age, coming to stand directly before Zara. "Child, show me your hand. The right one." Zara hesitated, then extended her palm with its glowing mark. Hela gasped, actually staggering backward a step. Finn caught her elbow, concerned. "Grandmother, do you know what this is?" Hela asked Zara, her voice shaking slightly. "Do you understand what you carry?" "No," Zara admitted. "It appeared tonight when the ships came. I've dreamed of this symbol before, but I don't know what it means." Hela reached out, her fingertips hovering just above the mark without touching it. The symbol pulsed brighter in response, and Zara felt warmth spread up her arm. "This is the Celestian Royal Seal," Hela said quietly. "I never thought I'd see one in person. Most believed they were extinct. Celestian?" Zara repeated. Hela gestured for them to sit at a cleared table. She activated a holographic projector, and images bloomed in the air graceful beings with skin that shifted like starlight, eyes holding galaxies, moving with impossible elegance. They looked like liquid silver given form and consciousness. The Celestians, Hela explained, were one of the oldest races in known space. They existed long before humans left Earth, before most current civilizations even formed. They were explorers, philosophers, artists. They could interface with technology through thought alone, manipulate energy fields, even fold space in small ways. She looked at Zara. They were also peaceful, which made them targets. "Targets for what?" Finn asked. "Power," Hela said simply. "About 15 years ago, something happened. The Celestian homeworlds went silent. No communication, no ships, nothing. Rumors spread civil war, plague, invasion. But those who made it to Celestian space found only empty planets and abandoned cities. It was as if an entire civilization had simply vanished overnight." Zara felt cold, despite the chamber's warmth. "All of them?" The assumption was yes, but clearly. Hela gestured at Zara. "Not all. Someone survived. Someone hid you, placed you in that orphanage, disguised you as best they could among humans. The silver skin, the glowing eyes, these traits would be more pronounced in a full-blooded adult. In a child, especially one living among humans, they might be dismissed as a mutation or unusual genetics." "But the mark," Zara said, staring at her palm. "You called it a royal seal." Hela nodded gravely. "The Celestians had a monarchy, though it was more symbolic than authoritarian. The royal family served as spiritual leaders, keepers of their most sacred knowledge. Only direct descendants of the royal line carry that mark. It appears at puberty, awakening with their powers." She met Zara's eyes. "Child, you're not just Celestian. You're Celestian royalty." The words hung in the air like physical things. Zara felt dizzy, her mind struggling to process this information. Royalty, her, the lonely girl whom nobody wanted to touch, whose presence made machines malfunction, who'd spent 10 years believing she was simply broken. "That's why they're hunting her," Finn said quietly. "Whoever those people in the ships are, they know what she is." "Yes." Hela's expression darkened. "If the Celestians were destroyed deliberately, the hunters would want to eliminate any survivors. And if they were studying Celestians, trying to harness their abilities." She didn't finish, but her meaning was clear. A distant explosion shook dust from the ceiling. All three of them looked up. "They're getting closer," Finn said. "Destroying buildings systematically, forcing people to evacuate so they can search." Zara stood abruptly, guilt flooding through her. "I should leave, turn myself in. I can't let innocent people suffer because of me." "Absolutely not," Hela said firmly. "Sit down, child." When Zara hesitated, the old woman's voice softened. "Your father wouldn't want that." Zara's breath caught. "My father? You know about him?" Hela moved to a locked cabinet, entering a long code. The door swung open, revealing a small collection of items, pieces of technology, journals, data crystals. She withdrew one crystal that glowed with soft blue light. I met a Celestian man 12 years ago, Hela said. He came to me in the dead of night, carrying a bundle. Inside was a sleeping infant with silver skin and eyes that held universes. He was injured, desperate, and being hunted. He begged me to help him hide his daughter somewhere safe, somewhere the hunters would never think to look. Tears spilled down Zara's cheeks before she could stop them. What happened to him? He said he would lead the hunters away, buy time for you to grow up in peace. He said when you were old enough, your powers would awaken, and you'd hear his voice calling. Hela's own eyes glistened. He gave me this crystal, said it contained a message for you, but you could only access it when your mark appeared. It's keyed to your specific energy signature. She placed the crystal in Zara's glowing palm. The moment it touched her skin, the crystal flared brilliant white. Zara felt a surge of energy, and suddenly she was somewhere else. She stood in a beautiful garden beneath foreign stars. Before her stood a tall Celestian man with silver skin that seemed to flow like mercury. His eyes were the same violet blue as hers, and his face held such gentle strength that Zara's heart ached just looking at him. "My little star," he said, his voice the same one from her dreams. "If you're seeing this, your powers have awakened. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to guide you. I'm sorry for so much." "Father," Zara whispered, though she knew this was just a recording. "Your name is Zara Aldwin Starweaver. You are the last daughter of the Celestian throne, and you carry within you the hopes of our entire people. We were betrayed, hunted, nearly destroyed. I don't know if any others survived, but I made sure you would." His image flickered, showing signs of damage to the recording. "There's so much I want to tell you, but time is short. Know this: your power is tied to emotion, to connection. Love will make you stronger than any weapon. The mark on your palm is not just a symbol. It's a key." "A key to what?" Zara asked the image dot, as if hearing her. He continued, "We built sanctuaries, hidden places where our knowledge and technology were preserved. When the time is right, your mark will guide you to the nearest one. Inside, you'll find answers, tools, and perhaps—" He paused, his expression filled with desperate hope. "Perhaps you'll find me. I'm going to try, little star. I'm going to try to survive long enough to see you again. Follow the pull in your heart. Follow it home." The image began to fade. "I love you, Zara. Never forget you are the dawn after our longest night. You are everything beautiful we were, given a chance to bloom again. Be brave, my daughter. Be—" The recording cut off, and Zara found herself back in Hela's workshop, tears streaming down her face, the crystal now dark in her hand. Finn stood beside her, his own eyes wet. Even Hela wiped at her face. "He's alive," Zara breathed. "He could still be alive." "The recording is at least 10 years old," Hela said gently. "But yes, there's a chance. A small one." Zara closed her fist around the crystal, feeling determination replace her fear. She'd spent her entire life wondering where she belonged, who she was. Now she knew, and she knew what she had to do. "You said the mark is a key," she said to Hela. "How do I use it?" Hela smiled. "You don't use it, child. You listen to it. Close your eyes. Feel the pull you described earlier. Let it guide you." Zara closed her eyes, pressing her marked palm over her heart. She pushed aside the fear, the grief, the confusion, and focused on that familiar pull. It had always been there, a compass pointing somewhere she couldn't name. Now she understood. It was pointing home. The pull intensified, becoming almost physical. In her mind's eye, she saw a path through the city, through the ruins, leading deeper underground to somewhere ancient. Somewhere waiting. "I know where to go," she said, opening her eyes. Another explosion. much closer this time. The lights in the workshop flickered. On Hella's security screens, they could see armored figures systematically destroying buildings, their scanners painting everything blue. "Then we move now," Finn said, already gathering supplies into his satchel. "Before they box us in." Hella handed Zara a small device. "This will mask your energy signature temporarily, maybe an hour at most. Use it wisely." "Come with us," Zara said to the old woman. Hella shook her head. "I'm too slow, child. I'd only hinder you. Besides, someone needs to mislead those hunters. Maybe buy you more time." She cupped Zara's face gently. "Your father trusted me with his most precious treasure. Now I'm trusting you to find the truth he wanted you to know. Go." They fled through a different exit, emerging in a section of ruins Zara had never seen. The buildings here were older, stranger, built from materials that seemed to shift in the moonlight. Pre-human construction, she realized. Remnants of whoever had lived on Meridian 7 before colonization. "This way," Zara said. Following the pull, they ran through corridors of ancient stone, past markings that looked almost like the symbol on her palm. The deeper they went, the stronger Zara felt. Energy hummed through the walls, responding to her presence. Lights flickered on lights that probably hadn't worked in centuries. "Zara," Finn said breathlessly, "you're making this place wake up." She looked back and saw it was true. The path behind them glowed softly, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. She was leaving a trail. "I can't help it," she said. "I'm not complaining. It's beautiful." Finn grinned despite their desperate situation. "You're beautiful when you do that. Like a living star." Zara felt warmth in her cheeks. She'd never been called beautiful before. She'd been called strange, weird, frightening. Never beautiful. They reached a massive door carved from a single piece of black stone. Symbols covered its surface, dozens of them, variations of the mark on Zara's palm. She pressed her hand against the center, and the door responded immediately. The stone seemed to liquefy, flowing away to create an opening. Beyond lay darkness so complete it seemed to swallow their lights. But Zara felt no fear. Instead, she felt welcome, as if the darkness was reaching out to embrace her. "Is this the sanctuary?" Finn asked. "I think so," Zara whispered. Behind them, shouts echoed through the ruins. The hunters had found their trail. "Zara Starweaver," a voice called out, amplified and cold. "Surrender yourself. We have the chamber surrounded. There is no escape." Zara looked at Finn, who shrugged. "Well, they're not wrong about the no escape part. So I guess we go forward instead of back." Despite everything, Zara smiled. This strange, brave boy who'd helped her without question, who'd stayed by her side when any sensible person would have run. "Together?" "Together," Finn confirmed. They stepped through the doorway, and the stone immediately flowed closed behind them. For a moment, they stood in absolute darkness. Then slowly, lights began to bloom. Not electric lights. These were softer, organic, like captured starlight. They illuminated a chamber vast beyond comprehension, stretching away into impossible distances. Towers of crystal grew from the floor like frozen fountains. Platforms floated without support. And everywhere, were the symbols, thousands of them, glowing with the same golden light as Zara's mark. "What is this place?" Finn breathed. Before Zara could answer, a figure materialized before them. Not solid, but not quite a hologram either, something in between. He was Celestian, young, perhaps 16 in human years, with skin that shifted between silver and gold. His eyes held galaxies, and his presence felt ancient, despite his youthful appearance. "Hello, Zara Starweaver," he said, his voice rich and warm. "I've been waiting for you. My name is Orion, and I am the keeper of this sanctuary. Welcome home." Zara stared at him, her heart suddenly beating very fast for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. His smile was gentle, knowing, and somehow sad. "I knew your father," Orion continued. "I have watched over you through the years, waiting for this moment. And now that you're here," his form flickered, showing strain. "Now we must prepare, because the true battle is about to begin, and you, little star, are the key to everything." Behind them, the door began to shake as the hunters worked to break through. Orion extended his hand toward Zara, and she saw that he too bore a mark different from hers, but complementary, as if their symbols were two halves of a whole. "Trust me," he said. "I will show you who you truly are." Zara reached out and took his hand. The moment their palms touched, the entire sanctuary blazed with light, and she felt her powers explode outward like a star being born. The last thing she heard, before consciousness shifted, was Finn's awed whisper, "Okay, now that's definitely not normal orphan stuff." Then the light consumed everything, and Zara's true awakening began.